Alright, so I'm just trying to get set up. I don't know if anybody's going to get the notification considering how I've pretty much been screwed by YouTube. So if you're coming in to watch this later, then you can come and just listen to it, skip through it, whatever. But I'm going to wait until I get some people in here just to see if I can get anyone to show up on the notifications that it was sent out. And if so, I'm going to wait and try to do a discussion about where I've been, what's been going on. I'm getting a lot of comments, a lot of emails and messages and stuff asking about where I've been, where the content's been, and things like that. So I am going to address that, but I'm going to give it just a minute to kind of let notifications go out. Hey guys, what's up? Yes, I've definitely missed you guys too, extremely. So wow, okay, so it just jumped to 22 viewers. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this out there. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what's been happening. So I know you guys have been waiting and looking for my content. Well, the thing is, all right, so let's just go back to the beginning. I started this channel in 2019 because it was more or less a joke between my dad and I. So this was something I did with my dad. We did a road trip across Mississippi buying tickets when Mississippi originally got the lottery. We bought anywhere from like $5 to $50 in each store. You know, we spent a couple of $1,000 a piece just going around buying tickets. Random stores all the way down to Flowwood. We even stopped at headquarters. We visited there. We rode around some places, small towns. You can't really say large cities in Mississippi because we don't really have that many, but I went around through all these different places with my dad, right? And I started the channel that way. And then I just started scratching tickets because I was like, wow, okay, people actually really do like seeing people scratch tickets. I thought it was a joke at first, but no, people actually enjoyed it. So then I started moving into doing books with you guys and having a lot of fun there. And eventually, I was able to start getting memberships. And you guys were awesome. Y'all supported the memberships. And we went through several years like that. And 2 years ago, I got hit with a demonetization. I took everything I had, I put it on a website, I created memberships there. And I kept my Facebook throughout all of this because it was kind of the way I funneled in some of my views. Just kind of gave a broader reach. All right. So let's see. I'm not answering about numbers right at the moment. I'm kind of tending to the other stuff right now. But, and I don't mean that rude or anything. There's some things I need to get off my chest after receiving this email that I received this morning. If you want, you can email me and I can try to help you out that way, the best of my ability. But, so I did this channel and I got hit with that demonetization about 2 years ago. It was a big issue. I actually ended up losing my apartment. I had just got a brand new car. I got demonetized. All of this stuff happened all at one time. I had to appeal, which, as you guys know, I got that back within that appeal because, I explained to them, hey, look, I'm not doing anything different than what I had been doing before, right? So we got the monetization back, right? So it's 2 years later. I'm still doing the same exact thing that I was doing then. And apparently there were some people that wanted to come, this little group of people that wanted to come in and apparently do some reporting on my channel for misleading. And so YouTube reaches out and says, hey, we took your memberships away. We took all of your money-making abilities away. Some videos might get 2 or 3 cents. Some of them may get $2 or $3. Either way, between all of my content on YouTube on multiple channels, I was making about $2,500 a month. All right, of which I have $2,400 a month required to pay in bills. That includes loans, car payments, everything. And so I worked all through September, half of October, and YouTube tells me, oh, by the way, we took your monetization and we're not going to pay you for September, nor anything else your money make or your videos making money for us, because people are still coming and watching the content. So here I am expecting a payment in 3 or 4 days from now on the 21st, and I'm expecting, which in this particular time was $1,900 because it didn't do as well. It's been kind of having issues with the algorithms and the things. Now I see why. It's because I see what was happening. I was getting set up for demonetization. So I'm out all the money to pay my bills. I have none. And it's frustrating and it's annoying. And what makes it worse is that when I filed my appeal for monetization this time, they told me, well, you broke the policy of terms of services. Okay, so how did I do that? What video specifically? What theme? What am I doing specifically that caused this flag so that I can correct it, right? I mean, if you mess up, you apologize, you understand, you take the repercussions from it, and you move forward by making things better. Well, I sent the email. First of all, they would not allow me to do an appeals process. It kept giving me errors. That was the first problem. I spent 3 days trying to get the appeals put in. So then I finally get the appeal, and it's placed. And so then, after that, I've waited 3 or 4 days again. And this morning I received the email that says, well, we can't really identify which specific video or trending theme through your videos that actually flagged the demonetization, but go read the terms of service and fix it. Okay, how can you fix something if you don't know what the hell it is, YouTube? Realistically, how the hell do you fix something if you don't know what is broken? If they said, hey, you're saying this word in your videos, or you're hashtagging this word, or you're doing this, then you know what? I would just go back and I would delete all of that information. I would exchange it for a better word. I would not use the word anymore. I would go out of my way to make it do it, right? Because I've been building this channel for 6 years now. 6 years. And it's gone like that. Literally. I come home, I sit down to go post my video, and it says error uploading. And I'm like, oh crap, what's now? Because sometimes your internet messes up. Well, then I was like, well, let me check this. And I went to go to my members section to see if, maybe, because I was trying to post a members video for the converted grid. And I tried posting it and it still gave me an error. And I'm like, well, man, what is going on? So I flipped over to my earnings tab in the app, and it said, your channel is no longer eligible for monetization. I'm like, what the hell? Which automatically closes all the memberships on my channel. So the thing is all those people were charged money. I had almost 200 members. All those people were charged money for my membership, of which I provided an entire month and a half, at least a month's worth of service, of which they were charged for, and I'm never going to be paid for. Now, I'm not saying that it's the members' fault, of course. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's not fair, because several of my members have messaged me saying, I tried to ask for a refund and they're not sending me one. Well, okay, first of all, I can't personally refund your stuff because they never paid me to be able to allow me to refund anybody, first of all. Second of all, whereas you're out up to $32 and some change with taxes and all at the highest level membership, I am out a significant amount more. So the way I see it is, if they can't pay me, they should at least be able to refund everybody. But they won't, And so here's another thing. Fun fact. The last time I got demonetized, I started a website. I created a website, and I had memberships on there where people could come, log into the website, view all the data that I had posted, and then from there, they would watch, read it, do whatever they needed to do, and then they would, do all their membership stuff from the website. And then the company that I was with my website, they pulled my money withdrawals. They did not allow me to continue memberships. It's like someone is, I'm not trying to say, oh, there's people out to get me, but there are people that are screwing with what I'm doing, okay? And it's pretty screwed up, because this is my way of how I pay my bills. I just recently, this year in February, March, that time frame there, I just started a farm. I invested nearly $25,000 into this farm, and I now have that loan that is actually divided up into multiple loans because I couldn't get just one big one. So I have all of that I have to pay for, and now I can't afford to pay for it. I can't afford to pay for the animals and the feed and the care that I should be on my farm because I don't have the money. So I don't own land. I don't own a house. I don't have any of that stuff. All I have is my car, which I'm paying for. I still owe 19 grand on it. If I paid it off, it'd be 16 something. But obviously, I don't have that. So everything that I've worked for this entire time, I really started pushing for this farm because it was something that I've always dreamed of having. And all of the money from YouTube was going to pay for that. Everything I earned from YouTube was going either into supplies or reinvestments into YouTube, or it was going to pay for that. Now, here's the thing. Altogether, my monthly bills are just at $2,400. Okay? According to all income sources that I have at this time, which is strictly subscriptions on Facebook, Maggie Magnolia, in case if you're wanting to follow me there. I got, I think, 45 subscribers, and I'm only receiving $260 something for those. All the content that I was putting out for my $30 a month subscription, YouTube takes 70, or they take 30%, leaving me 70, which I was making about $21 or so for each membership. So I'm having to take a $21 earning and drop it down to an average of $8.50 per person who happens to sign up for that membership. So now not only am I getting all of my memberships gone, mostly because I'm having to change platforms, I don't get paid for views on Facebook. I have been pushing so hard for the last week now to try and get my views up so that they would give me that whole monetization on there. All I can get paid for are stars and get paid for subscriptions off of that channel, or that thing. And it's frustrating because I try so hard. Y'all gotta forgive me. It's upsetting. You have people in this lottery world that will scam people, that will literally invite you to a group for $50 a month, give you some bullshit numbers, and tell you, oh, it's not my fault you didn't play it. They don't care. They take the money and they scam people. Those groups are still around. Some of those channels are still around. But the people who spend 2 years, 16 hours a day studying, analyzing, paying for things, spent 60 grand last year to help get more accurate numbers for people on analysis and data patterns and all this other stuff, which, by the way, I'm still paying for that too. I spent all this time and dedication and passion and research and caring for people to give the best possible product out there. And I'm the one that has to pay for the consequences because the overall actions of other people in the community. And it's screwed up. That's why I get emotional about it. And the thing is I know one little punk-ass kid who is behind a lot of it. And she knows I know who she is because I started getting harassed by her and her friends viewing and spamming and reporting and all this other stuff. So as soon as that can legally be handled, I have already talked to an attorney, and as soon as I can get all that evidence, her and that particular person that's responsible for her will be sued. So there is that. Now, as to how that happens or if I can get all the evidence I need, that's beyond what I can control. But what I do know is that you can't make it on $200-300 a month with $2,400 a month bills. I worked so hard to get my credit up. I worked so hard to get my farm going. I worked so hard to keep this channel maintained. And literally overnight, it's gone. They're like, oh, well, you can reapply in X a number of days. Well, if you can't tell me what I'm doing wrong now, how can I reapply in that time frame? Because what I'm doing now is still going to be the same thing I do later. So how is it any different? You know? So it is frustrating. It is very frustrating. To say the least, it is very frustrating. And the fun fact about the bills, the $2,400 a month that I have to figure out how I'm going to come up with, and can't get anything else deferred. I mean, I've done deferred the car payment for 1 month, and that's about as good as it can get. They won't help me anymore, even though I've already paid $10,000 more than what was even required up to this point. I've already paid a year of it off, which makes it even more frustrating if I lose this vehicle, because then I lose everything I put into it. So I'm trying to deal with that too, but the crazy part is that $2,400 a month that I have to have for the bills doesn't include food. It doesn't include gas. It doesn't include electricity or water. Okay? That's excluding those 4 things. Water, electricity, food, and whatever the other thing was I said. So it's just, my mind is going like 10,000 miles an hour, but at the same time, I feel like I'm moving nowhere. I just don't see it. I mean, if you look on my profile here on YouTube, you'll see that it has the disclaimer that this is for entertainment purposes only, because in reality, this is all supposed to be for entertainment. The lottery is designed for entertainment. So, therefore, I do put this is for entertainment only. But I didn't include that in every single video. Should I? Should I have done that? They never stated that I was supposed to do that. Was I not supposed to say the word lottery or predictions or something? Should I have said something else? So if you see me on Facebook, I'm using all new terminology that I don't even know if that's going to help me or hurt me in the long run. But I'm not saying the word lottery. I try to avoid saying cash 3, pick 3, whatever the game names are. I try to avoid that. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I mean, the subscriptions are there, but I kind of feel like how long before they kick me off? Because everything else is kicking me off. The websites kicked me off and shut me down. YouTube shut me down. And it's not like I'm doing anything that's illegal. It's not like I'm saying, hey guys, I'm going to draw a number today. Send me money. And if you get it right, I'll pay you X amount. It's not like I'm doing that, because that I cannot legally do. I do not have a gambling license. I do not have any of that stuff that allows that for any aspect of legal whatsoever. I am not a company that does that. All I do is provide analysis and data information based on patterns, based on histories, based on factual information that can be pulled from any lottery's website. You can always find what the overdue digits are. If you go back and you monitor and you track everything off of a lottery's website, you can do that. You can figure out trending pairs that happen, like when 2-5 drops, it usually repeats. Any mirror form. I mean, there's certain things that just happen to be part of the process that you learn over time. And I was sharing that knowledge. But no, now they don't want to allow me to keep my channel. So I don't get it. I don't get what I did to violate it, because everything that I do on here, I try so hard to stay, especially since the last time they demonetized me, I try to make sure I stay extremely close to the terms of service and do nothing questionable. But yet they seem to not care, and they still seem to just go ahead and throw me out. I do have, as far as like my website, I don't have my website anymore. They took it down, but I do have, I do have, PayPal, and I have Cash App. Y'all gotta forgive my dusty car. I'm out here in the thing. Y'all can probably hear the turkey and the guinea, actually. There's the turkey. There's my babies. Hey, babies. Hey, baby. So, yeah, that's part of my farm. So, I mean, just as passionate as I am about numbers, I'm even more with my animals, All right, so I'm going to see if I can pull up this chat thing. Y'all bear with me for just a second. I don't know that it's going to allow me to... Yeah, it's not letting me comment on my own because I'm on my cell phone. It's not letting me comment on my own stuff. But, hey, babies, I don't have anything. I don't have anything. They're wanting snacks. Usually I have a $40 bag of mealworms that I usually keep with me. And I'll toss a little handful of it out to them every so often. But being as how the situation is, I don't have any of those to give them. And now they're mad at me. So that's why they're over here. The guineas are fussing at me. And their mama is the turkey, because ever since they were born and they were put out together, they all clung to her, and she's just kind of mamaed them. So anyway, I was told I couldn't even keep my farm channel that I had for YouTube. Like, nothing. Any of the channels that I have, they won't allow me to get monetization on it because of this one channel. So if somebody knows what my Cash App is, y'all can feel free to put that in the comments. That's totally optional. I know someone had asked about that, so that I can offer that. I can offer what my my PayPal is. The only thing is do not put anything in the 4 sections that has any relations to lottery. That's my only request, because God knows I don't want to lose those last 2 bits of resources that I have. But I can say that my Cash App is the money sign, Magnolia Money 19, and the PayPal is magnoliamoney19@gmail.com. So, I mean, that is there. Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I've had so many different, and I'm going to say it this way just because this is kind of how it was put toward me. There's so many different types of conspiracy theories about the lottery and stuff. I've even had people message me saying that they're being stalked by their lottery, or that their lottery is doing something to them, or has put in complaints about them and stuff like that. Now, I don't have Mississippi, as far as I know, doing that. But I can say that I do have people that don't like what I do, because there are systems. I actually got my hands on a system that I know for a fact 100% no other creator has got. I know for a fact. Yep, that's it right there. Thank you so much. So I know for a fact that no one else has gotten access to. And it was just by chance that I got my hands on it. And it was because the cashier knew who I was and was like, "Hey, I got some old lottery stuff here in the back. Do you want it?" I was like, "Well, how much do you want for it?" She's like, "No, you can have it." And so it actually had a computer random generator system with it, right? So anyway, needless to say, I was breaking codes on the random number generator. I was breaking codes on a lot of different stuff. But the thing is that it was not anything that's illegal. I just happened to get a hold of information that I'm pretty sure most other people that do what I do not have. And I was providing the results for everybody. That's where the predictions list come from. That's a lot of where, any of the state specifics that I post. If you go back and look at the shorts, look at what numbers I wrote down. Look how many days it takes to drop. Tell me my accuracy rate. It's at least 90% or above. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not guaranteeing anything for anybody. And that's the biggest thing, is people know that. If you are a logical sense person, then it's just as much, you picking the right number as it is anything else. I mean, it's all quote unquote random. I use that very loosely with air quotes, but there are ways you can go in and narrow it down. If a Cash 3 game gives you 1,000 possibilities, you can find ways to knock out the majority of those numbers and narrow it down to roughly 100, 125 numbers. Now, would you rather take your odds with picking 1 out of 1,000, or would you rather take your odds of picking 1 out of 100 and, let's say, 25? Let's go to the max end of that. And, I would rather have my odds sitting at 125 capped versus 1,000 numbers. For instance, Cash 4. There's 10,000 possible number combinations that you could play. All right. Out of those 10,000, if you can narrow it down to roughly about 500 to 850 numbers, that is still a lot. But would you rather take your shot at knowing that there are these 850 numbers, or would you rather take your shot at 10,000 numbers? That's what I did. And every time I learned something new, that pool of numbers gets smaller, and it gets smaller, and it gets smaller, to the point where you get down to, eventually the goal was to get down to about 10, 15 numbers, and then pick and choose from those, or just, all right, sorry guys, there was a phone call come through. Guess what? Bill collector. But, out of all those combinations of numbers and stuff, the whole goal is to get it down to about 10, 15 numbers. And I was on my way there, because I was getting it down to about 40 numbers that I wasn't actually telling you guys necessarily, hey, I'm narrowing it down to these 40 numbers. But what I was doing was I was providing them in shorts. So inside of those shorts videos, you guys were getting the results from that collection of 40 numbers that I was pulling, and I was logically using it, saying, hey, these are probably going to be the next hot 20 numbers, or let's take 6 out of those 40 and let's go with those. And if you look, that is a high accuracy of 90+% of where those numbers were hitting. So it's not like I was telling people, you play this, you will win, because that's not how it works. That's not how I work. I am not trying to scam anyone. And it sucks that there are people out there who are scamming others, and they're getting away with it. They only seem to come after the people who actually have any type of intellectual knowledge about the lottery, because it's us that get our channels demonetized, banned, or completely removed simply for trying to help someone better their lives. Now, all these people that I've helped, because I'm telling you, there are millions of dollars worth of money over the course of 6 years that I have helped people win. Okay? More specifically, since Cash 3, Pick 4, that type of thing came out. And there's millions of dollars that people overall, collectively, have won. So, yeah, I'm going to charge for my time to be able to help people do that. That I gave free stuff, and then I also had membership stuff. People are like, well, why would you pay for that stuff? Well, because I'm paying for the compensation of my time. I'm not able to get on disability because of my age, but I do have enough medical evidence behind me to get disability. But they strictly, from the judge's mouth, because of my age, I'm not able to get disability. Now, which sucks, because I can't help it because of my age. I've got spinal issues. I have a bum shoulder. I have other medical issues and things like that that I really just don't care to disclose. I even have a new diagnosis from this year, and it's not something that is like necessarily life-threatening, but it is life-altering. And so I have to find ways to move around that sometimes. So anyway, so I don't have insurance because they say, oh, well, you make too much for insurance. But, or, you make too much for Medicaid and things like that to get assistance. You make too much, but you don't make enough to get on this program so that you can actually have decent insurance. So either way, things are kind of screwy, Oh, wow. See, I didn't know that about New York. Now, I do know New York has been a problem state for a while. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they are behind that entire scenario of controlling that lottery and stuff up there. And they don't want people to prosper. It's almost like if you zoom out of life and you zoom out of this world and you just look at things as an overall perspective. All right, this may lose some of you guys, or you may think I'm crazy, which that's fine too. That's what makes me unique. But if you zoom out of everything, it's like there's two extremely large entities that are controlling the entire world. I don't mean the US or states or lottery. I'm talking everything. Two entities that are in control, whether it's two separate people or two separate groups. They are both controlling how the world is ran. And each one has different sections of the world that they are like, this is mine. And then the other one's like, okay, this one's mine. And it's kind of like their home base. All right. And then you have other places that are a neutral playing field to where they are both fighting for to claim this dominance. Okay. And I know this goes way outside of things, but just trust me. Bear with me. I have this left side and this right side, and I don't mean politics, okay? I don't mean the left and the right as in Democrat or Republican. I mean, like, in my left hand, there's a group, and in my right hand, there's a group, okay? That's how I'm looking at it. There's these two groups, and they control everything. They control the finances, they control the media, they control the government, they control your presidents, your prime minister, your whatever you have. They control all of that, okay? And because of that control, it leaks down to their puppets, and their puppets go in and make sure that, okay, well, this person is in this government, let's go and Let's make sure we influence this leader to do this, this, and this. And then those people are sent in as pawns to make sure X, Y, and Z gets done. All right. I totally believe that. And whatever these large entities are, they know that, hey, look, people are out here trying to BS about playing the lottery. Let's go and do this. Well, see, here's the thing. The more technology has advanced, the more us creators and us that actually create these scaled out charts, the predictions, the whatever it is, we've never been on any kind of like radar. And I'm not saying we're on like the most popular people's radar, but we are on some level of this entity of people or groups or persons that control everything. To some level, we are on that radar because anytime, sorry, I'm trying not to get choked. So anytime anyone starts to, like I said, improve things or get closer and they start seeing, hey, this person is starting to get, a lot of hits. They're starting to come into the home, home office, the lottery office. They're starting to come in pretty regular. What's going on? Like, what are they using? What are they doing? And then they start researching back, Yeah, Nicole, they're not. None of it's matching up like it used to be. And that's the thing is, once I saw that, and this happened roughly about almost a year ago, things started to get a little weird. And then by March, it was official. And it was ever since the Mega Millions came in and added that extension that they did. All of the places got like this upgrade in their systems because of the Mega Millions. It was ever since then. That's when we started getting problems because they did a system update. So, hey Clem, what's up? So as we continue to go through all of the lottery stuff, and you have what I call leaders or creators or whatever you want to call us, some of us, there's a handful of us, and I am one of those, and I will say it, I am one of those, who actually are good at what we do. Now, if you take a look at those handful of people, how many of us are actually still on YouTube? How many of us are actually still with a channel or battling being in and out of being monetized, demonetized, monetized, demonetized? It's because they do not want people to succeed. They do not want anybody to get ahead financially because it goes against the motive of what these larger groups want done. And I don't mean larger lottery groups. I mean the larger entities that's over control of the world, so to speak. And like I said, I might lose some people on that. In my head, it makes sense. I have it all, like, based on research. There was a couple of people who, I'm not going to say which state, and I'm not going to say any other details of it other than this, but there was a couple of people who I personally know that, it's like cracking the code, exactly. And they want everything in chaos and fear. That's exactly right. They want you to I don't know what happened there. My stuff just glitched. Funny that's happening. I'm having glitches on my live stream after talking about this. Go figure. But, the government is who you would rely on when you get in a situation where you don't have the means to get to the end that you need to get to each month. You have to rely on the government. So what happens is the government then has to rely on whoever is in actual control of them. Because the government isn't in control of themselves. I'm sorry, but they're not. If they were, we wouldn't be in the chaotic situations we are with multiple countries and nations around the world as we are. And, as much as you can be a Trump supporter and be like, yeah, go Trump, you're doing a lot of good stuff. The thing is, at the end of the day, how much is he personally helping the little guy? I'm all for a lot of stuff that he's doing. I'm also against several things that he's doing. But at the same time, I'm still struggling, and now I've lost my job and can't even get paid for the last month. So here's the thing. Here's the question that a lot of you guys ask me. Well, Maggie, if you're so good at the lottery, why don't you go and play and just win your money? Okay, so here's the answer to that. I quit gambling a while back. Occasionally, I might buy a scratch-off ticket just because I have to put no effort and thought into it other than, hey, that's the ticket I want to buy. Other than that, that's all I have to think about. Because after I spend all this time studying, researching and stuff, when I sit down to go play, when I look at my own stuff, I become the dumb one. because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I become overwhelmed and I can't focus like I would be if I'm focusing for someone else. Like if I say, okay, here's a Maryland chart, let me do this, blah, 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 blah. This is what you need to look for. I'm good at doing that, but when it comes to playing now, I mean, I've won my share of stuff, okay? Don't get me wrong. I've won over 3,000 times. I've done my share of stuff. That's how I was able to get most of my farm up and going, other than that last bit of loan that I had to take out. And so, I mean, yeah, I could go and play, but here's the biggest thing about it. I haven't played the lottery in a while when it comes to numbers, because I have got some serious addicts that are in Mississippi, specifically, that a couple in California, and I'm not saying anything bad about either of our states, but there have been some people that have reached out to me and told me, Maggie, I have got, or Mags, they'll be like, I've got $5 to my name. I need to win. I've got to buy this for my mama. I got to pay my rent. I got to pay a car payment. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to have this. And, I'm going to be evicted by the end of the month if I don't come up with my rent. And they're relying on the lottery to gamble, to take those chances. And I guess because I have seen so much of that, it has turned me off to actually gambling for myself personally. I can't look at it the same and be like, you know what, I know that I could win this amount, or I know I could win this. I don't want to even take that chance because I don't want myself to fall into a hole that I have seen others fall into. So, whereas, yeah, I'm all for gambling, and I hope people gamble, and I hope that, they use my stuff to get their gambling done. At the same time, it does kind of bother me in a larger way than what most people think, because I don't want to see people fall into an unhealthy habit. It's all fun and games as long as you're being responsible. The moment you stop being responsible and you can't afford your medications, or you can't do this or that, then that's when we have a problem. And I cannot be the one that you rely on to get you through that. And I guess because of all that pressure that people put on me during those times, it has just turned me off from actually me going and playing. So that's why I'm not going and playing numbers for myself. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times when I have seen a cash pop number that I know for a fact is like, dang, that's a good looking number. I really need to go play that. So I'll tell my members, hey, this one's looking good. This is why I'm saying it. And here's where it's at on the chart. It's up to you to decide if you want to play it or not, or if it's one that you even want to consider. And I have missed so many opportunities where I could have went, bought a couple $5 tickets, and could have probably won my money back up to a couple $1,000s, or at least a few hundred. And that would have been nice. But the thing is, though, when you don't have that additional money and you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay for X, Y, and Z, which in my case is $2,400, which is about 14 separate bills every month, I have to figure out how I'm going to hit those minimum payments for those 14 bills before I worry about, am I going to go play this number? I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody else, by no means, but I'm saying that I'm trying to be as the most responsible person that I can be in this situation of my life. So, if you're the kind of person who can pull that off and still focus and get yourself up out of that hole, hey, look, I'm all proud for you. But like I said, I just don't think that is my route that I need to take, because some of the previous debt that I was in was because of the lottery. And so when I quit gambling, that debt went away and I paid it all back out of my money. I paid it all back. So anytime people send tips, send money, do this, that, or whatever, I take that money and I literally put it straight toward the next bill. I put it toward additional payments. I try to get a month or two ahead on my bills. Thank God, one of my bills that is about $700, one of my larger ones, it is paid up a month ahead. So I am okay with that part at the moment. So I don't lose that. But I definitely just don't want to lose my vehicle, because if all else fails, I'll live out of this thing. Like if it comes down to it. It won't be the first time. It won't be the last time. During the last demonetization that I had, I kind of hit a rough spot. And then, as most of you know, I have a kid. So she stays with her father. And so when I lost my apartment, that's where she went. And that's where she's at now. But since then, And that's been almost a year and a half, 2 years ago that they got demonetized. No, it was about a year ago. Yeah, it was about a year and a half ago, now that I'm thinking about it. So yeah, so here we are looking at a year and a half later, I'm back demonetized. It took me almost 6 months, and I had to leave out of state. You guys probably remember I talked about being in Florida, I talked about being in Michigan, I was in Ohio, I was in Tennessee, I was in where the hell else? Like Georgia for just a very few moments. But I've been in several different parks. I lived out of a tent for a long time, and I did a lot of my work just out of the backside of my car. And honestly, it was kind of fun, but it's not the way I'd prefer to do things. But at the rate it's going, you have to decide, are you going to pay this bill or this other bill? And because YouTube will not remonetize me and they took it all away and they won't even pay me for a month and a half's worth of work, I was expecting to have all those bills paid out of that. All of my due dates are after the 21st because, or the majority of them are, is because I knew I always get paid at or around the 21st from YouTube. And so now, poof, it's gone. What I thought was going to be coming in on the 21st, it's not there. I do have some amazing followers, though. You guys are pretty awesome because I have had people reach out and they've either purchased individual grids or they have sent me a donation, a tip, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to tell you, it does not matter if it is a $2. $2, I don't even care. $2 makes a world of difference when you have no income whatsoever. So, on Facebook, I'm trying to get the monetization on there. I don't know what all the requirements are. I just know that I need, from what I can gather through using AI, I need at least 5,000 followers. So I'm almost there. I've got like 400 and something away. Maybe a little less than 400 now since I've not checked it in the last couple hours. I don't know how the views are supposed to be, but I've been pushing over 100,000 views. I did like 163,000, 108,000. I did another 108,000. I don't know what I'm going to have today. I'm kind of trending on the low side of things, so I don't know if I need to get on there and do some more. But I have hustled myself to death trying to keep content coming and going. And the maximum amount Facebook will let me get for memberships is $9.99. They take out a portion. Out of that $9.99, I'm only going to get about $8.25 per subscription. $8.25 to $8.50. So you figure up the amount of people I have on there now. I won't get paid until next month for it because I've just had to start it, right? So no, I'm not on that. I'll have to check into that. I'll definitely have to check that out because I don't have that. I don't know anything about it. You can email me, magnoliamoney19@gmail.com. I'll definitely hear out anything you have on it. So yeah, I'm trying to push that for YouTube, or excuse me, for Facebook, because I'm not on here on YouTube anymore. So, I'm not going to continue to post on a platform for them to make money off of things that I've done, and I will be going through and deleting content off of here. So, it's not going to be like my popular videos because even though I'm not getting paid for it, I still hope that people will come in and still be able to get a hit. But any of like the membership videos, obviously people can't access them, but from the back end I can view them. So I'm going to go through and delete all of those from January all the way through till today, which, if you know me and you remember, that's a lot of damn videos. So it'll take a few weeks to do that, and then I'm going to start deleting all of the content that I had publicly that has been put out since January, February, March, April, probably about around April, I'm going to say. And then we'll see what happens from there. So, we'll just have to see what's up. Yeah, that's it. That is it. Yeah, just without I know you're putting the question mark to ask, but yes, that's the Cash App that I have. And like I said, if anybody does send anything, first of all, God bless you. Thank you. You do not know how much that means, and I hate to even ask. I really do. the way I like for people to be able to do it is just sign up for a subscription, even though it's not as much money as it would have been here on YouTube. It's still a little bit of something for me, and I'm able to give you something back that I feel like is a little bit more meaningful. But it's just, you have to watch who your leaders are in these groups, because the ones that actually know what they're doing, we're getting censored. It's the ones who scam you and take advantage of you, add you to a group for $50, $200 a month or something, and then they kind of disappear on you and don't even provide you anything on a daily content at all, not even an Allstate aspect. They're the ones that you have to watch out for, because they're the ones that's ruining our names for those of us that actually take the time, care, and are dedicated to our people. You know, I've got a strong following. Some of you guys have been here since day one, literally. Y'all found me, you subscribed, you checked out what I was doing with the tickets, y'all stuck around from the tickets to the Cash 4 thing. So, if you guys, I actually have, all states. I do grids and stuff that actually work for all states, because it's part of the algorithm that all states are lined up on that same aspect of how you pull the numbers, right? So everything on there is technically all states. What I do offer for state specific is like overdue lists. I'll put in like hot hits and things like that, which I'm having to slowly acclimate to Facebook, because I want to make sure nothing gets flagged. So I'm having to slowly ease into some of those things. And I don't say lottery, I don't say Cash 3, Cash 4. I say, instead of predictions, I use the word forecast. I make sure I tell people to have fun, because according to AI, as long as I'm presenting it as a fun game alternative that is entertainment only, even though you guys know there's real meaning behind what I do, I have to present it as in a lighthearted, fun atmosphere. So I'm having to change all my terminology, change all my names of things. I mean, like, I'm having to do everything separate. So, but as far as like the donations, like, I have PayPal, and it's magnoliamoney19@gmail.com. Just don't put anything about the lottery in the for section. You can put emojis or put tip, or, you know, just a little quick friendly message, or, you know, whatever it is you want to put in there, just not lottery related, because I don't want them to flag me either. They are hardcore about it at PayPal. Cash App, same way. It's the little $, Magnolia Money 19. Those are my things. I can't type it on here because it's not letting me type anything in the comments, so I have to kind of rely on you guys to somebody to put that up for me. But it's not like I like asking for that help either. That's not who I am. I don't like asking people for help, because that's just not how I was necessarily raised. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to take advantage of them, and it actually makes me feel bad. But the thing is, I know that the situation I'm in and the times are difficult, you know. But I will tell y'all this, I figured up all of my loans, all of my bills and everything, to where if I paid all of this amount off, all I would have every month is a cell phone payment, and I would have insurance payments on the vehicles, and then I would have whatever food supplies that I need, and then whatever electricity and water and internet. So aside from those bills, all of my monthly bills, they total up to $2,400 a month. Like I said, the actual collective amount that is owed before any additional month's interest is added to it is just over by like a couple of dollars of $58,000. So some people may be like, holy crap, $58,000, that's a lot of money. Yeah, it's a lot of money when you don't have it. But some people may be like, that's all you got? Well, yeah, because I've been paying down a lot. It was almost double or more of that not long ago. But I've been trying to pay it off. So yeah, so it's totally where you stand with that. So if I ever just magically happen to have 58 grand drop into my lap, guess what I'm doing? I'm paying my bills off, and I'm never opening another credit card. I'm never opening another loan. I'll never buy a new vehicle again. I will go to a used car lot and purchase a vehicle that's got 150,000 miles on it, that is like, I don't care if it's 20 years old. I will buy it before I purchase a new one, because that stress of that kind of a car payment, almost $700 a month, it is ridiculous, the stress that comes with it. So I'm telling you, man, it's not easy times for anybody. I mean, like anybody right now. You've got, they say, oh yeah, gas prices have come down to less than X amount per barrel, which means gas is under $3 a gallon and stuff. Look, I checked gas prices when he became president. I check gas prices the month after. I've checked gas prices every time I go fill up my tank, or in this case, I put $5 or $6 in it just to get me there and back. But it's still $2.79 where I'm at, and I don't care who you are. Mississippi, we just put in a higher gas tax on the gas, so whereas you're paying $2.79 plus the tax off of it, so like even if it goes down, you're still paying extra in taxes because of the way our government has shifted. Um, it's still a lot of money that adds up. Oh my gosh, y'all, there is a, sorry, that was a wasp flew in here, and I was about to have a heart attack because I'm sitting in the car. Whew. Thank you so much. I don't get to see any of the notifications on anything being sent like while I'm on here. So if you have sent, oh man, I beyond greatly appreciate it. I will do my best to get back in touch with everybody. I had actually come January, I had actually had a huge thing I was going to roll out in January for everybody. It was on my website. This is prior to them taking me down. I had been working with, as most of you guys know, I had hired in an assistant, which, by the way, I've had to fire because I can't afford myself plus somebody else, of course. So for those of you that got to meet and know her, that's great. But I was working on this special project for January, and it was app related, it was website based, and it was a pretty significant move. I've already invested a lot of money into it before they took my website down, and that was part of where that 60 grand that I borrowed and paid last year, I'm still having to pay for some of that, even though I'm not even going to be able to do it now because, like I said, they took my website, they've taken my Facebook, my YouTube. The only thing I got left is the Facebook, and look, I'm going to tell y'all what, the petty people go there and they screw it up for me there. I'm probably going to show up at somebody's door. Because that's the point that I'm going to be at. You know, we'll do like old school. We'll take it out in the yard and just settle it. You know, throw some fist, pop somebody in the eye with an elbow, you know, make their face eat a knee. I'm just playing. But in all reality, though, that's the only avenue that I have left. So if it goes dark or my account or profile disappears, just know that is not me hiding from anybody. That is a ban or whatever they do over there. So just kind of keep that in mind, because I know a lot of people on here wondered what happened. I actually had some people send me messages saying, you know, I don't know if you died or what, but I haven't seen you. And it's like, no, I'm still alive. I'm not dead yet. You know, it's coming at some point, but not today. So, oh man, y'all, I just can't believe the policies that YouTube invoke on such people. Because what about if, you know, I was in the process of making sponsorships with people. I was in the process of having other things happen which would have benefited both myself and the viewers. I was setting up a giveaway section that was allowing for some pretty substantial giveaways that I was in the process of being behind and designing and so forth. And it was partially through a sponsorship, and it's like all those things I had to contact all those people and be like, hey, look, I lost my YouTube channel. Hey, if y'all can hold this deal for 3 months and let me reapply, we can pick up from where I left off. And they're like, we're not interested. So those deals that I had, they're gone, which makes me look bad, makes me look stupid. But that's okay, though, because, I mean, I know that's out of my control. I mean, all of this is out of my control. But the thing is, as YouTube has no problem recommending and pushing out my content to other people on YouTube, but they have a problem with paying me for it. They have a problem with paying me for an entire month of memberships that people paid that was supposed to go to me. They're keeping it, and then not allowing them to refund the money. Not only that, but I think a handful of people may have got refunded, but the majority of them, they didn't send their money back. They're not sending me the money. So what do? They keep it. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair that I'm not good enough for you to keep me monetized, but yet I'm good enough for you to keep sharing my videos so that ads will play on them and people still watch them, and you earn revenue off of my videos, even though I'm not good enough to actually get that money. That's what I don't understand. That's what doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, maybe somebody can say it a little differently than the way I'm thinking it so I can wrap my head around it. But it doesn't make sense to me. You know? I can't imagine if I was the one goal I had for YouTube that probably would have solidified everything for me. I was pushing so hard, which I know I was a long way away from it, was I wanted to get the 100,000 subscribers so I could get that little plaque. That's all I wanted. That would have been like the ultimate goal. I mean, yeah, I'm sitting just under 20,000, and I know it's a long way away from 100,000 people, but I knew eventually, one day I would get there. But I didn't think they would come through and just demonetize me like that again. I even told them nothing's changed since the last time. Y'all reevaluated me and you gave me back my monetization the last time. Nothing has changed in the way of how I do things than what it was before. So I don't understand why they want to continue to just deny it. Now, they say that I could come back in 3 months. Now, if I go back and I delete all this content on my channel, and I delete all of this stuff that I've done for the last 6 to 8 months, or a year, if I delete all that, first of all, if you go to my YouTube and my bio and you scroll down, it'll tell you that I have like 5.4 million views. I actually have a larger amount than that because I've already had to delete videos before. So now when I go through and I delete all these videos, it's got one video I deleted earlier had 37,000 views. 37,000, think about that. 37,000 views on one video. All right, that's just one. And I've got tons of these videos to delete for like 6 to 8 months. When you look at my overall analytics for my channel, it's going to look like I'm a nobody channel, that I don't have a lot of views, like nobody's going to want to subscribe, nobody's going to want to follow because she's a new channel. No, I've been here since 2019, let me tell you. I know what I'm doing. I'm not the greatest, but I know what I'm doing. I can get my way through, a wet paper sack or something, I mean, I can at least find my way out of it. What I do after that may be questionable, but hey, I can figure out how to get out of it. But they don't want to look at that. They don't want to look at, how that's going to affect me if I do reapply. So, hey, what's up, Scratch Queen? How's it going? So what I'm going to end up having to do is, now that it's demonetized, is I'm going to have to do all this clearing out, all this cleaning up of my channel in whatever ways that I can figure out that it's been changed or done, right? And then I'm going to have to reapply. Then they're going to want me to sign up for memberships, which I'm not going to want to do because I don't want for the third time for somebody to pay for something and then they turn around and get their membership put on pause when they should just say, hey, look, we're canceling your membership. Here's your refund. They put it on a pause because in their terms of service clause, when you sign up for membership, if they pause your account, they do not have to refund you because I didn't cancel the memberships. Okay, that's the thing. So I'm having to deal with that aspect of things too. So if my channel comes back up, it'll just be videos for the public, and whatever the channel makes, it makes. Whatever it don't, it don't. But in the meantime, like I said, I am on Facebook. Maggie Magnolia. Do not subscribe to the Magnolia Money that is on there because that is a page and I'm not set up for that one for subscriptions or anything like that. Even though it says you can subscribe, don't subscribe to that one. If you're going to subscribe or follow, make sure it's Maggie Magnolia because that's where I'm at and that's the active account. That's the one that I actually have people that can see what I'm doing and interact and things to that nature. We got some stalking going on in the chat. But no, I just really hope that everybody understands that it was out of my control for this, and it does suck. And if you were a member, please go back and request a refund. Whether or not they'll give it, I can't say one way or the other. I just know that they're not paying me what I made since September 1st up until today, or any future revenue that my videos will earn, which at an average, if you were to look at just the views, yeah, I got demonetized about a week ago, yeah. They said I wasn't following terms of service, which I don't know what I did wrong. Everything has been I's dotted, T's crossed, you know. I don't know what happened. But yeah, I'm gonna be trying to, like, if you look at just the videos, if I did no memberships, just videos, and I posted them on YouTube, at the CPM that I was receiving everything from, it would be about $400 to $500 a month for views. And that's tens of thousands of views a month. Now, I don't know if Facebook is going to pay me for my views or not. I'm waiting for them to give me that quote-unquote monetization invite, but I haven't received it. I do get stars and I do get subscriptions, but I don't know what I got to do, who I need to call or do something for at this point to get that crap monetized. But if y'all can watch the videos and follow, maybe once I get over 5,000, they'll send me an invite. I never really pushed Facebook before. It's just kind of been a hub for me. And so I've got, like, I think 4,600 followers. I think I need like 400 more in order to get to the 5,000. I don't know if they'll monetize after that, but I'm going to keep trying. Oh yeah, see, they owe me like $2,500. They owe me like $2,500. And they're not going to pay it. And that doesn't even include what was done during the month of October. Just up until the day of October, I had just this channel alone, because this is not my only channel, mind you. I have multiple channels, and all of them are demonetized, and not all of them are lottery related, which is what I don't get. Like, I can't, they even told me, you cannot go to another channel that you have and try to create content to get monetized. They even told me that. How crazy is that? But yeah, so altogether, collectively, I'm like 25 in the hole. And the thing is that my bills every month are $2,400. So the tips that I get, which tend to be very far and few in between, or my sales of outside of YouTube, any type of additional sales that I make or things to that nature, that's how I buy my food. That's how I pay for my gas. You know, if I don't have enough money for the food, guess what? I don't eat that day. You know, I mean, that's just how it is. And right now, I'm going to tell you, in the last week, there's been a couple of days I haven't eaten. There's been a couple of days where, you know, I sit here at the house because my gas tank has been sitting on empty, and I can't even go and try to do anything else because I don't have the money for gas. You know? So, Nova, come here, load up. Load up. Tractor's coming. Load. Load up. Load up. Come on. Sorry, guys, I got to get my dog in here. She'll try to chase off the road. For the tractor. Hush! I apologize, guys. This is an unexpected event. I have someone dropping bales of hay off. I guess they realized that I needed the extra help for my animals. I don't know what I did to get demonetized. You guys bear with me. I'm going to step out of the vehicle so that she won't be barking right in my ear and y'all's. So what I did was, they just demonetized me, and I'm not really sure why or what for or anything like that. I was given two different answers, which, if anybody knows that's been on YouTube before, has been demonetized, y'all know what I'm talking about. They'll tell you, hey, you didn't do this on your account, or you did do this, which is basically violating terms of service. But yet they won't tell you what video, what specifically it was, or anything to that nature in order to get it. Dude. I apologize, y'all. There's a tractor in my yard bringing in hay. let me let you guys go. I gotta go tend to this. I'll be back on as soon as I can. But thank you guys for all the help and support. Find me on Facebook, Maggie Magnolia.